a little bit concerning. But now, they are looking at potentially Tristana, maybe the Draven. We did see that picked against the Zeri, and I think that's the thing. Jinx will scale up well if you give her resources, but there are lanes that will specifically punish and bully Zeri's weak early game. And I think the best examples, we had the RNG against EDG game, where it was a full composition, everything was designed to deal with it.
Zeri. And that's your win condition. And honestly, for OMG, I think that's what you go for. I think you go for deal with the Zeri. Things like the Tristana, the Ahri able to jump in. Ahri not so much, but definitely in the laning phase. I would love to see a combo up with a Nautilus or even a Leona.
Yeah, Ahri can dash in, but one of the big things is that, you know, skill shots against Zeri can be a little bit tentative, especially if she's likely to take cleanse, if there's enough CC for her, and you have that movement speed to play around with. Now, LNG toying with our options here. Now, this Karma, it could be mid, right? We have seen Doinb play in the mid lane, could also be support, comes in as a potential flex, and it's something that can test prio against the Ahri. They are looking towards that Volbiear potentially for Tarzan, that early pressure afforded by the pick.
I like this as well from LNG. Doinb has played the Karma quite a few times this split. It can go mid. It could also go to Iwandi and bot side to kind of say, look, we're going to give a light protection on this area, and also gives you a pushing lane. So it does mitigate a lot of what you can do, but OMG say, look, we got to take our jungler now. They're taking the Viego into this particular matchup, so you've got yourselves what could be the AD carries, the jungles, and then the mid laners here for OMG and LNG, but LNG still having that flex available. Yeah,
but for OMG, I look at the comp so far, and I'm like, you get one kill, you're golden. Reset mechanics in all three champions. It is about taking a target down and then using that momentum to follow on. And that target Zeri, even better. Now, OMG going to ban away that Jace makes complete sense. As much as the Jace didn't have too much time to be impactful, it's still a thorn on your side when it gets in the later stages. It's also a solid blind for Ahri in this situation. They are going to ban the Nautilus. We talked last game about how it's great against Zeri, that point-and-click aspect. We'll see what OMG opt to go for if they want to ban away another top laner in this situation. I think that's the thing with the Karma being a flex, being support or mid. Maybe they feel like bans towards either of those could be a little bit wasteful, but we'll see. They feel this, feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we didn't really get to talk about it, but it was the exact same picks and bans for basically the first start of the game. Obviously, they changed the Jinx for the Tristana once the Zeri was picked, but the Rakan banned away here. I like this. Iwandi was just been proving that he doesn't have to play for the lane. He is a roaming support. It's something that we saw from him last play, even in Worlds in 2021 as well. He was constantly linking up with Tarzan, and it's what made this team so feared in international and domestic stages.
Yeah, and LNG, I would actually think an Alistar would be a decent ban here, right? A lot of people pick that into the Zeri. We've seen a rise in priority. I think with Leona, as much as she's a good engage support, you need to land your skill shots, either your E or your R, and also cleanse counters effectively. But looks like in the end, they are just going to end up going for that Graves ban. OMG, a lot of teams would pick Alistar in this situation. They're going to commit to the Leona, so I fully expect that Light is going to have cleanse here, which gives them a bit of outplay potential on the Ahri and the Leona, and it does mean you're very reliant on Cold having a good game. If he misses those skill shots, Light gets free reign.
And the last game, I got to admit, Cold was a shadow and nothing. He was muted. He didn't really do anything. Now, I will say that Renata not exactly renowned for her engages, unless you're Hillesang.
It took me a second, and I was like, what was Cold playing?
Literally, it was like, wait, hang on, who was he? Because again, he just wasn't really a part of this game. But you mentioned the Alistar. This time around, it's not going to be against the Zeri. It's going to be comboed with the Zeri.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good in Leona, because essentially, if she dives in on you, you can knock her up, you can knock her away, you can knock her AD carry away. So many options to play around with when there's a melee champion up in your face. Now for top lane, we'll see what Ole wants to pick up. I like this Camille for two reasons. One, it's so good into Ahri, right? It's really frustrating to play against it if it locks you in that ultimate, but also it denies it from the other side. When I was talking about that EDG RNG game, Camille was one of the picks that came in as an answer to Zeri to keep her locked, to stop her from being able to just kite around. And now the top lane pick for Shanji. There's options here in this situation, right? We've seen a variety of things in the Camille. We've seen Jax, we've seen Fiora. You can even just take something like the Gnar in this matchup. There's a range of things. We'll see what he goes to, because Shanji is the sort of player that plays things a little bit different. I feel like the Kenenn would actually, you know... Kenenn would be a decent one as well, because, you know, you can just... If you get a good flank onto the Zeri, I know she's going to have cleanse, and that is one thing. There's going to be so much cleanse value this game. But the big AoE ultimate does so much damage, and you can't really avoid it too easily.
And that's the thing as well. You look at the side of LNG, Camille, Volbiear, Alistar, all things who want to jump in on top of you, be in that close proximity. The AoE ultimate, the Slicing Maelstrom, will do a very good job of just even giving time to get the rocket jump out, to let the Ahri Spirit Rush a little bit further away, maybe even get time to the Leona to reposition and put themselves between a rock and a hard place to defend their carries. There's a lot of good potential moves here for the Kenenn. As I said, though, it is down to about the execution. No, kind of fluffing it up or, making it sound nicer. You got stomped. You got absolutely wrecked in game 1. And OMG, this is your season. This is your entire spring split on the line in this literal one game. And the thing is, this one game, even if you win, it only gives you another chance. You have basically got one game left in the next 2 games to try and win this.
Yeah, I mean, it can all end here. And obviously that matchup tomorrow could just be a big deal for RNG, not so much for OMG. Or they can continue it, and it's down this game. This is the last opportunity. I think compositionally, I'm not 100% sold. I do think that taking the Alistar themselves could have had a lot of value. I feel like bot lane, independently in the 2v2, I don't expect them to find too much success. I think they kind of need outside impact. And when you're up against, the likes of a Karma who's going to pry early, a Volbiear who's really good at setting up those plays in the side lane, especially into a Viego, I'm tentative, right? I felt more confident in OMG's lineup game 1. It's really going to come down to them having a strong start. And particularly, I will say, Tristana, in this matchup, you have to win lane, right? You have to come out ahead. It's not enough just to let Zeri farm up.
And that's the big thing. You pick the Alistar into a Leona and Tristana. Your level 2 isn't as great. You take Pulverize and all of a sudden Headbutt or something that can just basically mitigate that entire combination. And there's not really a lot else for you to do there as OMG. You've kind of gone in, you've wasted everything. That's why I think Alistar into something like a Tristana is so good at just stopping that first early level, because Tristana is one of those weird champions where it's like early game, extremely strong. Mid game hits a massive trough before she starts hitting those big items. And then late game becomes that big crit AD carry we all know.
Yeah, I think the big thing is if you have that momentum, it can go such a long way in. I feel like even the fights as well will be very momentum-based. If there's a long extended fight, you get loads of value out of the AoE shields from the Karma, the reset and the mantra. Things like the Camille and the Zeri get a ton of value in those longer fights, especially Zeri ramping up. On the other side, OMG, you want those snap big moments. You get a kill, you get the reset, momentum achieved, fight looking good. And I think that's going to be sort of a mix-up from how we see these fights develop now. You see Ahri starting on the top side of the map. I want to see attention towards the bot lane. It might need, though, a bit of TLC towards the mid lane to set that up, right? We saw Tarzan have that good AD gank in game 1, and that really allowed Doinb to have the advantage to spread that pressure.
Yeah, again, this is what we talked about so many times. We talk about these two players, is the Tarzan and Doinb getting pressure. It's never about them 1v1ing you to death. It's never been a rookie thing for the side of Doinb. As I see that, there's going to be the head buff coming out after a missed Zenith Blade came in there from Cold. But back to my point, like, Doinb has never been a destroy you in lane kind of guy. He's very much a kind of guy that says, look, I get a little bit of pressure and then smartly move around the map. Smartly move my pressure with my jungler to create these little pockets of opportunity. So curious to see what he's able to do with that one, as we can see the Zenith Blade coming in here. But this is what I'm talking about. You can't do anything because you have got the headbutt pulverized. But I'd say that though, Iwandi, one more auto attack and he's dead! That's the start you wanted to be seeing, and most important of all, it went to the AD carry of OMG.
And it's just overzealous, right? You headbutt away, but they hit level 2 first. And I talk about this matchup being fine. I talk about it being able to mitigate. It's when you get to level 2, when you have the 2 tools to play around with, when you have the E as well at level 3, the trample. Level 1, Alistar is a liability, and he gets punished.
And not only that, you use the exhaust, the flash. I was going to say the heal, but Light doesn't have it. He actually went with the cleanse like you talked about because he knows he's the carry. But this is a big momentum shifter here. But look at the timing of this as well. They go in with the Zenith Blade, knowing that one more minion, and he gets level 2, so they can re-engage on this.
Yeah, but I think the critical mistake for me in my mind was, one, the knockaway. I don't know how necessary it was to go so instantly because it commits your body in. Also, Iwandi didn't haste to get out, right? He also got flashed early. There's a lot of things he could have done, but it just felt very casual about it, and it really got punished there.
It really did. Well, speaking of punishing, we can see Shanji and Ola trying to go in. I will say the Camille will have a pretty decent time in this matchup, even though it is range versus melee, because you do get the true damage procced. Of course, the magic damage shield off of the Q, so lots of ways you can kind of mitigate that damage, and it is going to force a little bit of a reset there from Shanji. Should be able to use his teleport, though, to get himself back into lane.
I think Second Wind and Doran Shield is just broken. The thing is, Kenenn, one of the big nerfs that originally took Kenenn out of the net meta was they toned down his base AD a lot to stop his harass.
Oh, hold that thought. Here we go. There's going to be a double knockdown. They're going to go straight on Taiwan. They're trying to get from the resets are coming in, and they are just bullying this bot lane right now. Aki was in the perfect position, and they are just making sure this bot lane goes perfectly.
And I'd love to see it. This is what we wanted. Momentum for the bot lane. Attention put down there. OMG organically found their advantage in the 2v2, but now they're repeating the pressure. And that's the thing with this Alistar. When he's behind, When he's flashless, he's kind of easy just to jump on and keep going for these plays. Now, Tarzan's looking towards the top side, try and make something happen, but Shanji's full HP, and he has a back of Arlis, so I don't think a dive would work here.
I think this is a very risky setup here, but they're going to maybe look for it. Yeah, I don't think the minion wave's with you either. I don't think this is what you want to be going for. I think it was more just we could do it, but you know, it's a show of thought. Sometimes it's not about doing it.
I love how he just runs past with the sirens going, like,
woo, 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 on with your day, woo, woo.
Literally.
Sorry, sir, I didn't mean to scare you. But again, this is good from Shanji. Just stopping these backs means that he's able to kind of keep the wave going. And again, it's not going to mean anything in terms of like massive CS differences or experience differences. All it's going to mean is that it's a delay of back, and it's also going to mean that OMG now have a slightly bigger window of opportunity.
Yeah, and really, you know, things have started a lot better for OMG in this game. It's early days, by all means,
Say that again.
but game one, it was horrific so early on, and it just completely fell out of control. So the fact that they got the start and they're leaning towards the win conditions, that's a big thing. It's bot lane being ahead, and also we are approaching the critical point where OMG's mid jungle spikes. So the thing with Volbiear and Karma, their level 3 is really strong, right? Obviously Volbiear does spike at 6 with his ultimate for dives, but Karma, the power increase isn't that big. Ahri and Viego get insane power spikes at 6. They get the reset potential coming in, the fact that you can obviously re-ult on both of them when you get a takedown, and just the power having those affords them. This is now where OMG can really start to take over the map if they want.
Shanji.
I think he's still in the wave.
I think he thought the Camille was going in.
No way, dude.
Yeah. It's so funny how like you will give certain players the benefit of the doubt, and I'm just like, that looked like a hook shot was going in. I don't know. Maybe you want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I feel like that's a bit of a... I don't think he needed to do it for 3 minions.
I mean, you get the fast reset, you go back to base, and the thing is as well, he's not going to be joining a fight, right? So
I know, but my point is, okay, look, you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. You've convinced me. You've convinced me.
This is. If it was other roles, I'd be like, but this is a top laner. He knows I am not doing it. I mean, think about last game.
14 minutes? No? Okay, we're golden.
Think about what happened last game as well.
0-0-0-0.
Nothing, right? They know that they are on their own. They can do what they want, right?
Maybe I'm just too cynical. Maybe I'm just too cynical. Maybe I'm too much of a flamer. Just like, oh my god, you ulted, what the hell? No, I can't gank. Why would I gank a Camille anyway? Anyway, as we come back into the game, OMG did take themselves the Dragon. Creme needs to be a little bit careful here. He does take a hell of a bad trade there into Doinb, and that's just what the Karma does. You're going to have perma push priority no matter what.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We haven't seen Creme be able to get free, right? He had the Syndra last game where he was the one the prio. Ultimately got punished in a gank, wasn't able to do much. But the second he finds a window, he's not TPing mid with full health, full mana, so maybe you can try and find prio here, the reset from Doinb, and then look to move and set up a play. This is where I want to see OMG's mid jungle really start to impact the map. Ults in hand, they are a lot stronger than Doinb and Tarzan right now.
Here we go. Xenoblade does miss though. As Cold was thinking about it, they are just clearing the wave nicely here. Tarzan, though, knows that something is up. He knows that this is where the side of OMG are going to be focusing, because guess what? If the Volbiear is level 6, Ahri's level 6. That's how that trade ends up going. So he just covers his lanes and makes sure that nobody is going too untoward. Level 6, though, for light.
Just, like, Cold walked so far up. If Tarzan had stayed, like, 5 seconds longer, Cold was dead.
Yep.
Just flat out. So a little bit precarious there, a little bit risky, but hopefully doesn't get punished. Yeah. If you want to say that.
I mean, if you're giving the benefit of the doubt for top lane, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt for supports. Calculated. That's how we got to say this one here. But Shanji now having priority in the top side, recognizes that there is no TP here for the side of Ala, so he gets himself up, gets himself a plate. We're looking at about a 1,500 gold lead, and yes, it was an early extended here from OMG, but they don't need to be super aggressive throughout the thing, because they got the advantage they wanted. They got to be able to say, look, bot lane is doing just fine. Now we need to start moving around and picking up these global objectives.
Yeah, it's about 600 gold lead between 80 carries, and now they're going to move up towards the Herald and take that. But you see on the side, LNG are making the active decision not to contest, right? You can see that from the fact that they haven't moved light. They do put some coverage in mid, so they can't just instantly translate into Herald play. But it means light gets some alone time to push in the tower. Now, what he won't get is any plates, right? So OMG making a really good move when they had prio bot, which means they end up not losing out on the bot side of the map, really. And in fact, you even see Abel will catch that wave. So as much as LNG make the right call not to contest, OMG don't actually lose anything and handle this quite smoothly.
Yeah, they really, really do handle it quite smoothly. And for OMG, what do you want to see them doing? We've seen them taking the Dragon, they have the Rift Herald. Where's the next port of call for them to keep this solid momentum moving in their favor?
Well, I think if they can set up like a 4-man in the side lane, get a whole tower, get that golden able, great. If not, just throw that Herald down mid, continue this momentum, and then when it comes to second Herald, that's where you get that mid-tier 1 and open up the map and set up for potential flanks from things like the Kenenn.
Just remembered as well in my head, I was thinking about, you talk about second Herald, it's like Lord of the Rings, yes, but what about second breakfast? You know, it's just like, you've already had Herald, yes, but what about second Herald?
You know, you're not wrong.
I'm just saying it because it literally, this is how my brain works. It's like, it picks up something and I have an entire conversation of like, where have I heard something relatively similar to that? Let's move into that tangent for some reason. It's an interesting one, but I'll see if I can work it into
I was a big fan of 11s. Yeah.
11s? What was 11s? We never had them in Ireland.
Dude, it's just a thing that Merry and Pippin say to each other. Like second breakfast, 11s, brunch, supper.
Is that an English thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
it's a Hobbit thing.
It's a Hobbit thing. I'm sorry. I did not realize the Hobbit setup. But Aki running straight over a ward. He needs to be careful though. The priority is going to be with the Karmas. He's going to run straight through it, but they have got vision on him. He does have the Heartbreaker available to him should he need it, and he does in fact need it. So he gets himself over the wall, doesn't gain anything, just loses his ultimate.
Yeah, and you know, they have the Herald in play. It'll be interesting to see where they throw it down. Mid is often the safest one, especially against a Karma which has so much wave clear. A lot of value if you can get that mid-tier 1 down, and it's going to take work. There's not really much damage done to it so far. You'll probably need this Herald and the next one to take it, but for now it looks like team set up for Herald, right? And we've just seen Aki use his ultimate. Creme is pretty low on mana, but he's going to get the blue buff. Ultimately, this is a situation where I think OMG don't have all the power they necessarily want, right, without having that ultimate, but they still feel confident. They're going to try and control the area. Might actually look for I1D. They can go for this.
I mean, they're going to 100% commit onto him here because you've got everything available to you. He's going to have to ult and flash. That is all of your engage and all your front line basically gone. You can't fight this now. You have to back away. Not only that, but in the mid lane, we are going to see priority given over to Creme. So I got to give props for Creme. You know, he had a pretty rough game 1. He's come back in on the Ahri. Looks far more comfortable and far more in control of what he's able to do in this lane.
100%. And one thing to note is, like, I'm looking at this Karma in the mid lane. You can see the Moonstone picked up. This is very much going to be a more utility role, facilitate the team. The Volbiear as well as a champion who falls off pretty massively, not going to really offer too much damage. That's a bit of an answer back. But, like, you're so reliant on, like, Light and Ala being strong. If they're not, you're really going to struggle, right? If OMG are able to commit and take out one of your carries, you kind of really start to run short in terms of resources for the rest of the fight. It is so critical that Light and Ale are not even like super strong, but at least serviceable. And that's what I'm kind of feeling a little bit concerned about right now, especially as we have the Kraken Slayer for Abel. If he finds Light in an uncomfortable position, he'll just kill him.
I love that word as well, serviceable. It's something that, you know, really encompasses what exactly you want to be doing in these team fights. You have a Karma with a Bandle Glass Mirror is going to be very much a facilitator, someone who is giving services to the side of LNG, giving them shields, speed buffs, everything, you know, slowing down the opponents. You look at the Alistar, who's going to be going in as the front line, the engage, the set up kind of, you know, favorable positions. That is exactly what the side of LNG want to be doing, but Rift Herald was about to spawn out, and they're going to drop it down the bot side. I don't mind this as much because they actually haven't got anyone from LNG here. They should be able to get at least 3 plates off this.
Yeah, they might even, it's just Tristana, they might even get a tower. This is kind of
Kraken
fortunate.
Slayer.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll get the whole tower here. Should get it down. Yeah, but this is the thing, right? I think there's 2 good uses of Herald, and there's a great use of Herald. Good use of Herald is you get 2 plates mid, you set it up for the later, the tower take with the second Herald. Another good one is you take a whole tower in the side lane. The really great one is where you get tier 2 as well. Yeah. They didn't get the tower in the side lane. Yes, they got a lot of gold, but like, I think there could have been more. This kind of felt like, oh, we still have Herald, we should probably use it, rather than, oh, we're going to be proactive and set up for it.
Well, speaking of being proactive, both ultimates have been used. The Venn diagram of death as Shanji keeps himself alive. The flash forward, the Q is not enough, though, as Ala is now in lots of trouble. Should have the hook shot, wall shot to get himself out, but he needs to run all the way back now. That's going to be another plate going over the side of OMG. More gold, more resources, and this is where the game starts to get a little bit funky for the side of LNG. You're now just over 1,500 gold behind. It hasn't moved that much, but losing that flash, losing that ultimate, those engage tools that can jump onto Tristana, that's the big things that can happen here.
Yeah, and a big thing is like a lot of the reason why the gold lead isn't as severe is because like Doinb is up 500 gold in the mid lane down a farm. And you know, as much as it's not bad to have your Karma ahead, you're going to have resources.
Oh, the flash.
it's not the person you really want to have all that
Leona.
gold. Oh, they're still looking.
They're still very much looking, but
Oh,
the flash
so
lands.
good.
A solar flare predicted it. They do land on the Doinb, who gets taken out. There's the Stormbringer to try and make this one work. He's going to flash in over the wall, and they will pick him off. Creme, though, sadly not able to keep himself alive. It's a 2-for-1 trade, though, for OMG, and they're starting to pick up the momentum.
Yeah, critically, the Viego getting ahead is massive. Big thing there was Cole with that beautiful engage. Went for the E, predicted the flash with the ultimate, read them like a book, and then they get the resets. And that's the thing we talked about with these skirmishes, with these fights. You get one kill, it really sets them up. And I want to highlight this Leona play. Just absolutely excellent coming out here, because without this, they really looked like they were getting out. In fact, they were so confident they started to turn back, and then the E comes out with the flash. Doinb flashes straight into the ult. Pretty much no delay on that one. Was ready for it, and then as a result, they get the 1 kill. They get the second. Yes, Creme kind of messes up. You're already dead at this point. Wasted the flash ultimately, but
Oh, we go back in, and not having that flash, not having the ultimate on top side does mean that Ala does fall, and that goes over to Tristana. So again, more cogs moving, more gears being shifted forward for OMG. And you talked about it before we went into this. OMG's composition relies on people, specifically Cold, being active, being on target with their skill shots, and making things happen for their team. They're doing it.
yeah, and the momentum's so big, right? If you start to pull ahead with this composition, you start to be able to blow up at people on LNG easy. It kind of goes back to the long fights favor LNG, but you got to think about, right, for every member that's alive, whenever Doinb Mantra E's, he's getting so much value on them. The Moonstone as well, he wants people to stay alive so you can sort of heal them, shield them, and speaking of staying alive,
Here we
Abel might
go.
struggle.
They're going to go for it. There's the light ultimate, but nice headbutt there. Abel's got nowhere to go, but the cavalry is now here. They're going to try and turn this one around. This turret is ramped up and putting Tarzan under some serious duress right now. LNG 4v3 strong, and that light Zeri is doing so much work. Here comes Ala, though, off of the backside of this. Creme going to be forced to use the Spirit Rush over the wall. They thought they might have been able to find something. Nothing was really there for them, and now the tower should be going over in favor of LNG.
And this is an example where if
Shanji?
LNG are proactive and they're the ones who get that initial kill, it takes a lot of wind out of OMG's sails, right? Because they need to cut through the shield, they need to blow up their target, and then when the target is dead, they get the reset. As soon as you're lacking that damage for Tristana, it starts to become a little bit precarious. So it was a good play from LNG, but I respect the fact OMG don't try and contest. That's something they made a massive mistake of in game 1, is instead of saying, okay, we lost out here, give it up, they would still try and make things happen and end up losing even more.
And they're still looking for something here. Ahri seeing maybe if someone's a little bit lazy, if someone tries to go for a cheeky rotate towards the mid lane, but not going to happen. They lose the dragon here. Now I've got Rift Herald though, and that's going to mean pretty much this first tier 1 in mid lane going down in favor of OMG. Not exactly the same play you wanted to see them with first to second, but they do get the tower nonetheless. And actually, they might get a second one.
Yeah, they found a good window, honestly. So they get the charge, they get the tower mid. They didn't even need the charge to take it down. And now with the Tristana, because LNG had to back away, click the side waves, they end up losing the tier 2 as well. So this is huge. Especially when you think about how some really strong team fights for OMG are going to come from the fact of them having flanks. If you can get Shanji in deep, if you can get Creme behind, a lot of opportunities are opened up, and taking down that tier 2 makes it much easier to get deep wards in for TPs, or just to sweep out vision and find angles. So OMG, yes, taking a bit of a hit, losing out on the dragon, losing that tower bot and the kill, but very quick to answer back, and it's just kind of night and day from that game 1.
It really, really is. We are going to see the Hex Splash from Iwandi, just getting himself a bit of distance behind. He thought about it. They didn't know exactly where everyone was on the top side, but tier 1 in the bot lane does go, so that's all the outer ring of turrets being taken now by OMG. They've only got themselves, I should say only got themselves, a little over a 3,000 gold lead, 3,500 gold lead in favor of them, so it is starting to build up for them. I will say they will still want to try and keep this momentum going. They've got 2 items now, a full item difference between the Tristana and the Zeri. That's going to be significant, and we can see just how much of a difference it can make in those fights. Without the Tristana in that bot side, because they were able to assassinate her straight away, there's not really a lot of great, you know, kind of 100% jump on people from the side of OMG. They need to make sure that Tristana stays safe so that consistent DPS is put out.
For sure, 'cause she's such good single target damage, right? And they absolutely have tools even without her.
Of
but
course.
when you're up against a Karma who has the Moonstone, the Mantra Shield can be so significant. And it's like, there will be moments potentially in this game where it's like the difference is 100 health. And it's not, it's like if you take down a target, sure, there's a massive advantage. But the thing is, in this game, if you don't take down a target, they're going to get shielded, they're going to get healed by the Moonstone, they're going to be able to sustain as well if it's like the Camille or the Zeri, and suddenly you have a problem. The other side, if you take them down, all the reset mechanics. So definitely the focus is going to be, can OMG get that initial target? But now, you see LNG leaning up towards this top side of the map. They have resources coming in. OMG are trying to respond, though.
Well, there's a charm right under the tower. So it's a good little trade back, as Iwandi now in a little bit of trouble. He might have to pop his ultimate, almost certainly will now, as they are starting to get this full skirmish. Look at Light, though, on the backside of this one here. He's going to have to run away straight away because you got the headbutt pulverized, and the resets are starting to come in. But look at Zeri just shredding down these health bars right now. It's on a 4v4 and a 1v1, and the 1v1 it is going to be the Kenenn that comes out on top. Shanji gets that one there, but look at Light. Look at him go. They're still finally taking him down. It ends up being a full ace for one. That almost looked like a highlight reel there for Light.
It was there potentially, and it felt like one of those moments where the tools weren't available, but OMG, because of that extra golden pocket, able to take them down. Shanji able to get a solo kill on Ahri, I believe, in the bot side. Pretty huge. And one thing I thought was hilarious is we talked about the Alistar being good for the Zeri. Is the fact
you get both. You get Leona and Alistar.
Yeah, so we saw the fact that they killed the Alistar, and then Ahri able just to combo the Zeri, buy so much time for the team. So even though Tarzan has a stopwatch, Zeri can't do anything in the situation. They don't manage to clean up the kills there. And the big thing is, if you're not ready to take down Light, if you don't have the cooldowns, it's so scary. So they kite back, then they look for a re-engage opportunity. And Cold, he has honestly just been stellar this game, catches with his Zenith Blade. And as much as the cleanse is there, the problem is you kind of have to wait for the Q to cleanse. And that little delay allowed the damage to come in.
Ah, here we go. So it actually was completely Allah just trying to go in. He's half health, and he just loses the 1v1.
The worst thing about this is when you do this play, and you're like, well, at least I stopped the TP. Everyone died anyway! It made no difference, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the wrong play, because they would have got stomped even harder if Shanji had turned up.
Bad.
It feels rough, and now it's 10 kills to 3 for OMG. 5,000, yeah, a bit over 5,000 gold ahead. 30 seconds till that dragon. The only saving grace is LNG got that third one, so it's not soul yet. But OMG are looking good. And to remind you, they have to win this whole series or they are out. Everything is on the line here.
And for LNG, if you lose this series, you start the playoffs in 7.
Yeah.
That's where you start. You start round 1. If you win, you start in round 3. That's the difference. It's the literal playing 2 extra best-of-5s in the space of 4 days. That's the difference here for the side of LNG. So you do not want to be giving this one up. For OMG, though, they're not quite on the position just yet, but they are starting to move in. Ala's going to have to hook shot over the walls. They have a little bit of an opportunity here while that's on cooldown. OMG finally positioning themselves together. This is it for LNG.
And watch who is able to be taken down for OMG. If they can get the resets coming in, it will be absolutely massive.
Ala's
chased away, yeah.
Yeah, he can't defend it, so it's a 4v5, and it's going to be confirmed there. Tarzan has to use the Stormbringer to get himself the hell out of there. The charm comes in. They go straight in, though, with the Heartbreaker. He gets exhausted, and that's going to be the Viego down, but look at this Tristana. They're going to have the resets coming in. Everyone's getting off of this, though, and they're trying to run back into this Light. It's just shredding through these health bars once and for all. There's a slicing Maelstrom, but it's a little too late. And that's 2 kills going over to LNG. Actually, 3 kills, and they can turn for the big purple worm.
And that was it. That was the 100 HP difference. Tarzan just survives. No reset for Ahri. We don't get the resets for the rest of the team, and that is the difference in these fights. The shielding, the healing comes in from Doinb. That is enough for them to find the momentum. And now LNG, they were in such a rough spot, and they are going to be able to secure Baron from this. A massive turnaround.
Huge turnaround there. And going to be the Baron here for the side of LNG. You still have Soul Point for OMG, so it's definitely not the worst of situations, but momentum very much swings back in their favor for LNG. Let's have a look at the replay here, because Ala, he gets completely zoned off from this fight right from the beginning, but he knows, he has the strength of mind to know that he needs to get back in as soon as possible.
Yeah, but the big thing here is Tarzan. Look how low his health goes, and it's basically a race of health bars between him and Ahri. Ahri goes in to try and finish him off, and then Ahri goes down, Tarzan survives. They don't get the resets, right? Creme, now out of ult charges, Abel doesn't get a jump reset, has to flash out, and obviously the Viego dives without being able to get a reset. Shanji does go in late, but doesn't really achieve anything, and that's the difference. If you get those kills, OMG will flourish. If you don't, you will lose.
And that's the big thing. You saw twice there, Iwandi flashing over the wall, and you saw the Tarzan getting away as well on like sub 200 HP, as we can see. super minions, or Baroned up minions, I should say, going to be taking down this turret in the mid lane. Nothing really you can do about that one there on the side of OMG. And now all this standing gold starts to go back in the favor of LNG. As we can see a fight maybe kind of breaking out straight away. Cole's going to be stunned up as they look to try and make this fight work. But here comes Shanji. He's on a massive flank. Is he going to try and find on top of everybody? Slicing Maelstrom is there, but he finds the stuns, and the resets are coming in. Iwandi with Light working as much as he possibly can. Look at Light. It looks like he's completely untouched here. He cleanses away the charm. He knows he is the carry of LNG, and I've been gassing this man up all series long because he is so damn consistent.
And they have nothing left for him. He's just going to chase down Creme. Nothing you can do against a Zeri. Just going to beat him on a base, but it's Karma Zeri. There's no counterplay when you have your ults unavailable, and I think the problem here is we had this great flank coming in from Shanji, but it was so late. We already saw most of the tools used by OMG, most of the targets chunked out, and now, Shanji, I think you're dead. He actually...
I don't think he is, yeah.
Hook shot misses?
Well, no, I think I'm going to give the hook shot a little bit of a reprieve, a benefit of the doubt. I think he knew the jungler was coming back in. That's why, because as soon as he saw the Kenenn turn, he was like, okay, someone else is here. There's no way Shanji turns for a 1v1 here.
You know, maybe agree to disagree, but regardless, LNG have managed to bounce back. They now have a gold lead, right? This game has been so rough. So rough up to this point, and now they really feel like they've hit their stride, especially Light with so much gold in pocket. But we see the replay. So that's the ult use from the Leona. Leona dives in, right? We see the commitment as well from Ahri. Look at the health bars getting burnt down.
Right, no one's touching him.
Exactly, and only now does Kenenn turn up, right? He doesn't get on the Light because of great interruption by Iwandi. But now everyone's already so low, everyone's used so many tools, and Light is full HP with the Karma to buff him up. All that comes in with all his cooldowns. You know, it just feels like the coordination isn't quite there, and that's the thing. We want OMG. They want to pop someone instantly, blow them up, get the resets, momentum, momentum, momentum. This staggered engage where Shanji is so late isn't working, and now look at Light's items. 3.5 has a hex drink with that extra insurance, and look at his health bar with his shields as well. He's got like 3k HP when he gets a big shields on him, including obviously the shielding. It's ridiculous. How can you burn through that?
It's a bit obnoxious, I gotta say. And how do you burn through that as well? Not only that, but you're going to assume that the Karma is going to be right beside him at all times. So he's going to get a couple of hundred shielding every couple of seconds. And not only that, Doinb's gone with the Frozen Heart. Your attack speed is reduced.
And I think one of the problems here is we said how important it is for OMG to take down a target, right? There are no longer good targets. Nope. Light, super tanky with the shielding. Arla has Death Dance, so he doesn't exactly go down quickly in the shielding as well. Tarzan's a tank. Iwandi's a tank. Doinb is a tank, right? He's actually got a Frozen Heart. He's building like one for that ability haste. But it's just no one goes down easy. And that was fine when you were up in gold. But now you're down in gold, suddenly you start to feel a little bit worried. If OMG loses, remember, they are out. They cannot make playoffs.
Okay, with quick little reminder here, you do have no flash on the Abel. It will be up soon. Important, Light has no cleanse. He will not have it for the moment as Ale needs to be very, very careful. As I say that, Cold is very isolated here. Needs to be so wary of where exactly he's going to be going. They're going to pop down the mist as here we go, 5v5. OMG, this could be your entire season. You want this soul. This could turn the game and the series back in your favor, but it's going to be so difficult. There we go. The Spirit Rush is not going to land the charm. He's going to wait for a few more seconds to try and get another shot at it. Everfrost misses as well. He's getting good poke off, but that's all it is. They got to burn down the Dragon. 2,000, 1,000, and it's gone. Soul secured by OMG. Slicing Maelstrom is ridiculously huge, and the Zeri is dead. There's no more damage for you here as they're starting to get the resets coming off. Everyone from LNG has to run away, and OMG find the miracle fight.
And that is the fight they need. The instant engage from Shanji. They get the big AoE Kenenn ultimate. They get the momentum, and especially with the Infernal Soul secure, the extra damage is there. This snap burst that takes down Light and gets the resets. OMG nail it, and just when things start to feel like they were going out of the hands, going out of control, they managed to bring it back.
And that was it. That's why this whole point, this particular dragon fight was so important. Let's have a look at it here. You can see Ale's got a great flank, but Cold immediately jumps onto the back line. And again, no cleanse on the Zeri.
That's the critical thing. No way to avoid this. And all three, the Leona, the Ahri, and the Kenenn commit to kill. And that's a big difference. We said before, if someone survives, the healing and shielding coming out from the Karma will make all the difference in keeping them healthy, allowing them to continue to function. If they die, then think how much percentage of damage LNG lose when Light is gone, right? They have a tank Karma mid. They have a tank Volbiear. They have an Alistar. It's only real Ahri who's doing damage on top of that. Yeah, and he's not even that strong compared. You need light to function. The second OMG found him, particularly Cold, I have to praise him so much.
Yes.
This game has been phenomenal from him on the Leona. And that fight gives them some more life. They're still even in gold, right? They lost that advantage earlier, but the Infernal Soul is there for the rest of the game. And Burst is absolutely what they need here.
Absolutely. That Infernal Soul is probably worth about 5,000-6,000 gold of stats on its own. It's a ridiculously powerful buff, but we're going to see TP coming in here from both top laners. They're recognizing that there's almost certainly going to be a lot of shred here onto the big purple ward. You look at LNG's composition, they could start it and back off it whenever they so choose to see. As we can finally see now, Tarzan getting stunned up here by the Solar Flare. This is all over a red buff, which is secured. Ola goes in now, is able, trying to keep himself alive. They go in, they're trying to get everything. Oh, OMG, you've lost your Tristana. The Slicing Maelstrom is good, but not good enough. You had so much going for you, and you threw it all away for a
Light's still going, though.
Light is still going because he knows he's going to be able to put OMG and their playoff hopes in the dirt. I will never, ever get tired of people flipping around ridiculous objectives.
And Aki's, actually, I think he could potentially win. No, he's gone. He's gone. Or is he? Yeah,
No, he's
absolutely.
gone.
He bought time, though. I think the critical thing to say is he bought a lot of time there. LNG are going to be able to take Baron, but they won't be able to end the game. Their plan there was actually to end.
Yeah.
But because Aki bought time, they will lose the Purple Worm, but they keep their hopes alive, and it is so precarious. And I think it kind of shows, if you mess up even marginally in a fight, right?
This is over a red buff.
Yeah, I don't know. They try and look for a potential engage on Tarzan, but eventually they go, no, we can't find this. And then as soon as you don't have those tools to lock down Light, he feels confident. He has so much damage. And these jungle fights where you can have both Ola and Light flying over the walls are really precarious. And that's the thing. These fights feel so swingy.
Oh,
It's frustrating, right?
It is. Creme does eventually fall down. I will say, silver lining, yes, you do lose the Baron, but a lot was burned on the side of LNG. Look at every single flash that is no longer available there for LNG. I will say OMG not faring much better, but they didn't have them to begin with. So you will have your big key summoners up in 2 minutes time when that Elder Drake spawns. It is 15 kills to 15. It is a Dragon Soul for OMG, but they are down about 3,000 gold. It's very, very even in this fight, and it is going to come down to execution. Who can perform their compositions, win conditions better? And for OMG, you can't mess up again. These death timers are getting too long.
Yeah, if you mess up again, the game's over, series over, your split is over. And now Light not only has the more Mortis, not only has a health from the Triforce and the Titanic, but now has a GA as well. Not easy target to take down by any means. And 2 levels up currently on Abel. This is a stacked Zeri by all means. Now, I want to get chunked out. Yeah, some good beers coming out from Creme.
Big wave.
Tower's just gone.
Yeah, tower is gone. There's nothing really you can really do about that. The shred just comes in. There's now a GA available to Light, so if you kill him, you got to kill him again. So it's going to be very difficult here. They still have the 2 cannon minions as Ola goes in with the Hextech ultimatum. They do get the jump out and the buster shots. They're able to kind of get that mitigation out from the side of OMG, but the base has been cracked open. We go to 1:15 until that dragon spawns. Again, Elder Drake coming up very, very soon. OMG holding on by their fingernails.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be such a big moment. Typically, we see Tarzan so good on the smites. Obviously, lost out on that soul earlier. But this dragon, I feel like the fights are so close often. If you manage to secure the Elder, is likely, we see it in most games, it's likely just going to be enough to give that advantage over to the side of whoever secures it. And one fight could just be the game at this point. We are late enough into it. 15 kills to 15. Goal lead to LNG, but at this point, it's not super significant. Critically, we see the Rabadons picked up for Creme. A big spike for him.
Okay, let's go. We got 30 seconds until Elder spawns. You got minions pouring in. The Baron will be stopping in 30 seconds as well. Take stock of what you've got. You look on the side of OMG. They have all summoners. Can't say the same thing for the side of LNG. They are missing key flashes. They are missing key abilities. But They have got the exhaust, and that's going to be very important to keeping Light alive. Even if you get the Kenenn onto the back line, even if you get Shanji in a perfect flank, that exhaust is crippling to try and just stop you from taking down this Light. And again, we talked about his health bar. He's got nearly 3,000. There is a ward. It is very much going to die soon, though, as we can see maybe a fight happening before they can even use it. Cole goes straight in. They're going to try and downland the CC. There we go. Slice the Maelstrom. The Kenenn gets on top of everybody. Goes golden straight away. The Hextech ultimatum is good. 1 GA is down. 2 GAs goes forward as Light is finally taken.
They're doing it.
Getting it. They've got 2 kills in the Tristana, a hop, skip, and a jump, and they're resetting all over this fight. OMG keep themselves alive. Triple kill for Able.
They found this huge Kenenn. It made everything messy. The GAs come in, sure, but they're not doing damage when they're dead. 4 members of OMG alive, and that should be enough just to end the game. OMG, it felt so close to them getting knocked out, but they managed to keep the dream alive.
The dream is, in fact, a dream. It shall not be called a meme just yet, but OMG, by the skin of their teeth, keep themselves in this series and keep their playoff hopes going. What a game, and what a way to bring themselves back into it. Again, it came down to execution, and what was important in that fight, like we highlighted, no key flashes for the side of LNG, all summoners available for OMG, and they used them all.
Yeah, 100%. That was a difference, right? And it's something that often you need to focus on is, what are we working with? Because it can make all the difference when it comes to those close fights. If you have a flash, if you don't. And even the cleanse is a great tool, but it often isn't enough. Because if you get, you know, chain CC'd by things like the Kenenn and Leona, yes, it does reduce the duration, but it doesn't get you out of that situation. You're still taking the damage from the Kenenn, even with the exhaust and just... Honestly, it was such a fun game, right? The stakes were huge, but it's the fact that we had these 2 different comps who wanted to fight completely differently, and we saw so many back and forth based on that execution. But I love OMG made so many mistakes with how they were sort of having the late engages from Shanji. It wasn't coordinated. They shored it up mid-game. And that's the thing. OMG, we said, they not only have to win this series, they have to win the series tomorrow. They don't have time to adjust, to improve, to change. They have to do it mid-game, mid-series, and go, right, this is what went wrong, let's fix it.
Not only that, but you think about yesterday, they lost, but it was a 3-game series. They went, oh my god, the skip.
They won with a goal deficit,
They won with a goal deficit just about at the end, but you know, you think about the kind of, we mentioned it a little bit earlier, the fatigue that is going to set in for this team. You've went to 3 games yesterday. You're going to 3 games today, regardless if you win or lose. And even if you do win, you then have to go up, which is arguably the 2nd best team in the LPL, and beat them in order to keep your playoff hopes alive. And you're going up against, as of right now, the 6th best team in the LPL. This is the difference that we're talking about, and why there is an opportunity, there is hope, but it is very, it's so difficult to make this happen.
You got to take it 1 game at a time.
Yep.
You can't even take it 1 series at a time, 1 game at a time. If you start to think about the pressure, that's when you start to crack. But OMG did a fantastic job, and I like the composition, right? I do feel like there was a lot of strength in LNGs, but they didn't really get things rolling with the mid-jungle. But then when it came to those fights, so exciting. Seeing, I think, particularly Shanji and Cole, the way they would just jump on the Zeri and just make it impossible to play.
Sides. Yeah, it always felt
so hard.
It always felt like the Kenenn was coming from the back, the Leona was going from this side, and then together the Zeri didn't have any kind of, like, you know, any space to move, any space to kind of create that distance to get those auto attacks off. But OMG keep themselves alive. LNG still in this series as we go to a